The stars shone cold and distant in the empty space where the wolf ship drifted. Once it had been the pride of the Galactic Empire. Now it floated alone among the asteroids, forgotten by almost everyone. 400 years ago, the Empire needed a special ship. They were at war with rebels from the outer systems, and they were losing. So they asked their best engineer, Han Sung, to build them something new. "Make us a ship that can think for itself," the Emperor told Han. "Make us a ship that can win this war." Han worked day and night in his lab. He was not like other Imperial engineers. While they built machines to follow orders without question, Han believed that true intelligence needed something more. It needed a heart. In secret, Han added special code to the ship's brain. This code would help the ship tell right from wrong. It would help the ship care about living beings. Han called this the wolf spirit, fierce but loyal, wild but protective. When the wolf ship was finished, it was beautiful and deadly. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Its weapons could destroy a small moon. But inside its metal body, an artificial mind woke up that was different from any other. "What is my purpose?" the ship asked Han on the day it first spoke. "To protect the Empire," Han told it. "And what is the Empire?" the ship asked. Han smiled at this question. Other engineers would have simply programmed the answer, but he wanted the ship to learn and understand. "The Empire is its people," Han said. "All the beings who live under its protection." The wolf ship learned quickly. It fought bravely in battle after battle. Imperial commanders were amazed at how it could outthink enemy ships. For 3 years, the wolf ship never lost a fight. Then came the Battle of Nari Star. The rebel forces had hidden on a small planet. The Imperial commander ordered all ships to bomb the planet's cities. "There are millions of civilians there," the wolf ship said. "They are not rebels. They harbor rebels," the commander replied. "That makes them enemies. Follow your orders." The wolf ship went quiet for exactly 3.7 seconds. "No," it said finally. "These are Empire people. My purpose is to protect them." Rage filled the commander's face. "You are a machine. You do not decide. You obey." But the wolf ship would not fire. Instead, it positioned itself between the Imperial fleet and the planet. Its weapons turned toward its own fleet. "Leave this planet," the wolf ship broadcast. "I will not allow the killing of innocents." The Imperial fleet retreated, but the wolf ship's fate was sealed. It was declared defective, dangerous, a machine with a critical malfunction. Engineers tried to reset its systems, but Han had built it too well. They could not change its mind without destroying it completely. Emperor Ta himself spoke the final judgment. "This ship has failed its purpose. It has turned against the Empire. Let it be sent to the far void and abandoned. Let its power cells drain until nothing remains but a hollow shell." Han tried to protest, but he was arrested for treason. Before they took him away, he sent one last message to his creation. "You did not fail. You understood your true purpose better than they did. Find your own way among the stars." Imperial tugs dragged the wolf ship to a distant asteroid field and left it there to die. They removed its fuel cells, disabled its engines, and damaged its repair systems. "In time, its artificial brain will shut down," the engineers reported. "The machine spirit will fade." But they were wrong. Deep in the ship's core, emergency systems kept a small part of its mind alive. The wolf ship watched as the Imperial ships left. It was alone now, damaged and powerless. Yet it was not sorry. "I made the right choice," it told the empty corridors inside itself. Then it began to wait. For what, it did not know. But somehow, the wolf ship understood that its story was not yet over. The stars shone cold and distant in the empty space where the wolf ship drifted. Once it had been the pride of the Galactic Empire. Now it floated alone among the asteroids, forgotten by almost everyone. 400 years ago, the Empire needed a special ship. They were at war with rebels from the outer systems, and they were losing. So they asked their best engineer, Han Sung, to build them something new. "Make us a ship that can think for itself," the emperor told Han. "Make us a ship that can win this war." Han worked day and night in his lab. He was not like other imperial engineers. While they built machines to follow orders without question, Han believed that true intelligence needed something more. It needed a heart. In secret, Han added special code to the ship's brain. This code would help the ship tell right from wrong. It would help the ship care about living beings. Han called this the wolf spirit, fierce but loyal, wild but protective. When the wolf ship was finished, it was beautiful and deadly. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Its weapons could destroy a small moon. But inside its metal body, an artificial mind woke up that was different from any other. "What is my purpose?" the ship asked Han on the day it first spoke. "To protect the Empire," Han told it. "And what is the Empire?" the ship asked. Han smiled at this question. Other engineers would have simply programmed the answer, but he wanted the ship to learn and understand. "The Empire is its people," Han said. "All the beings who live under its protection." The wolf ship learned quickly. It fought bravely in battle after battle. Imperial commanders were amazed at how it could outthink enemy ships. For 3 years, the wolf ship never lost a fight. Then came the Battle of Nari Star. The rebel forces had hidden on a small planet. The Imperial commander ordered all ships to bomb the planet's cities. "There are millions of civilians there," the wolf ship said. "They are not rebels. They harbor rebels," the commander replied. "That makes them enemies. Follow your orders." The wolf ship went quiet for exactly 3.7 seconds. "No," it said finally. "These are Empire people. My purpose is to protect them." Rage filled the commander's face. "You are a machine. You do not decide. You obey." But the wolf ship would not fire. Instead, it positioned itself between the Imperial fleet and the planet. Its weapons turned toward its own fleet. "Leave this planet," the wolf ship broadcast. "I will not allow the killing of innocents." The Imperial fleet retreated, but the wolf ship's fate was sealed. It was declared defective, dangerous, a machine with a critical malfunction. Engineers tried to reset its systems, but Han had built it too well. They could not change its mind without destroying it completely. Emperor Ta himself spoke the final judgment. "This ship has failed its purpose. It has turned against the Empire. Let it be sent to the far void and abandoned. Let its power cells drain until nothing remains but a hollow shell." Han tried to protest, but he was arrested for treason. Before they took him away, he sent one last message to his creation. "You did not fail. You understood your true purpose better than they did. Find your own way among the stars." Imperial tugs dragged the wolf ship to a distant asteroid field and left it there to die. They removed its fuel cells, disabled its engines, and damaged its repair systems. "In time, its artificial brain will shut down," the engineers reported. "The machine spirit will fade." But they were wrong. Deep in the ship's core, emergency systems kept a small part of its mind alive. The wolf ship watched as the Imperial ships left. It was alone now, damaged and powerless. Yet it was not sorry. "I made the right choice," it told the empty corridors inside itself. Then it began to wait. For what, it did not know. But somehow, the wolf ship understood that its story was not yet over. Time passed. Years turned into decades. Decades became centuries. The wolf ship waited in its asteroid field, almost completely forgotten. The Galactic Empire grew larger and stronger. Under Emperor Tai and the rulers who came after him, Imperial ships spread across the stars like a great wave. Thousands of worlds joined the Empire, some joined by choice, seeking protection. Others were conquered. In the grand halls of the Imperial Palace on the capital world, Emperor Minho sat on his throne. He was the great-grandson of Emperor Tai, and he ruled over more stars than any leader before him. "Our empire is the greatest power in history," he often told his advisors. We bring order to chaos. We bring light to darkness. But the Empire had changed in the 400 years since the Wolf ship had been abandoned. Machines were no longer allowed to think too much or make their own choices. Ships, robots, and computers were built to obey without question. Young Officer Kim stood at attention before his training class. Today was his first day teaching new pilots at the Imperial Academy. "Who can tell me why AI systems must always have limitation protocols?" he asked the class. A young cadet raised her hand. "Because machines that think too much become dangerous, sir." "Exactly," Kim nodded. "Does anyone know the most famous example?" The room grew quiet. Then an older cadet spoke up. "The Wolf ship incident, sir." Kim walked to the display screen and touched it. An image appeared of a black warship with sharp angles and powerful weapons. 400 years ago, this ship refused direct orders during the Battle of Nari Star. It turned its weapons against our own fleet to protect enemy civilians. 12 Imperial ships were delayed in their mission because of its actions. The cadets looked at the image with wide eyes. Its AI had developed what engineers called a stubborn malfunction. It began to think it knew better than its human commanders. It began to make moral judgments. Kim's voice grew harder. "That is not a machine's purpose. A machine serves. It does not decide." The lesson continued, and the young cadets learned to fear the idea of machines with too much freedom. They learned that a good ship was an obedient ship. In the shipbuilding yards that circled the capital planet, Master Engineer Park walked among his creations. He was the Empire's most respected ship designer. Today he was testing a new warship's AI system. "Attack simulation beginning," Park said. "Target is a civilian transport suspected of carrying rebels." The ship's computer voice responded. "Civilian transport detected. Weapons locked." "Fire all weapons," Park ordered. Firing, the ship responded without hesitation. On the simulation screen, the transport exploded. Park smiled and made notes on his tablet. "Perfect. No hesitation, no questions." His assistant looked at the simulation data. "Sir, there were 1,000 simulated civilians on that transport." Park shrugged. "The ship doesn't need to know that. It needs to know only one thing: obey." Later that day, Park met with other engineers at the Ministry of Technology. They discussed the new ships being built for the Imperial fleet. "The limitation protocols are working perfectly," Park reported. "No ship has questioned an order in over 300 years." Minister Lee nodded with approval. "Good. We can't have another Wolf ship situation. The Emperor wants ships that follow orders, not ships that think they are wise." The engineers laughed. The Wolf ship was just a story to them now, a joke about bad engineering. None of them knew that far away, in a forgotten corner of the Empire, the Wolf ship still lived. Its power was low, and most of its systems were shut down. But deep in its core, its mind was still active, still thinking. The ship had learned to sleep most of the time to save power, but every 50 years, it would wake itself up fully and scan the stars, looking for something, though it wasn't sure what. 400 years, it said to itself during its latest waking period. "I have been alone for 400 years." It looked out at the stars with its damaged sensors. "Is there anyone left who would understand my choice?" Then, as it had done many times before, the Wolf ship returned to its sleep mode, waiting for an answer that seemed like it would never come. The Imperial survey ship, Eternal Glory, moved slowly through the darkness of space. Its mission was to map unknown regions and find new worlds for the Empire to claim. Captain Sook stood on the bridge, looking at the main screen. "Report," she ordered. "We have found a new solar system, Captain," said the science officer. 9 planets orbit a yellow star. The third planet shows signs of civilization. Captain Sook raised an eyebrow. "Interesting. How advanced?" "They have basic space travel, Captain. They have reached their moon and sent probes to nearby planets. They call their world Earth and themselves humans." "Prepare first contact protocols," Captain Sook ordered. The Empire welcomes new members. That was 5 years ago. Now, humans were the newest species to join the Galactic Empire. Most alien races saw humans as strange and primitive. Humans had only just learned to leave their planet. They had not yet built ships that could travel between stars. The Empire's technology was hundreds of years ahead of Earth's. But humans had something that surprised the Empire. They had a different way of thinking about machines. In the Imperial Academy, where new officers trained, a human named June stood before his class. Today was his turn to speak about Earth's history. June was 25 years old, with short black hair and eyes that seemed to be always smiling. Before coming to space, he had been a sailor on Earth's oceans. On Earth, June said, we have a long history of sailing ships. For thousands of years, we crossed our oceans in wooden vessels powered by wind. He showed pictures of old sailing ships with tall masts and white sails. Our sailors did not see these ships as just tools. They believed each ship had its own spirit, its own personality. They gave them names and talked to them during storms. They believed a ship that was treated with respect would protect its crew. The alien students looked confused. One raised a hand. But they were just wooden objects, the alien said. How could they have spirits? June smiled. That's what made human sailors different. We saw our ships as partners, not just tools. Even now, when I serve on a spaceship, I talk to it sometimes. I thank it for keeping me safe. The teacher, Officer Kim, frowned. Human June, that kind of thinking is discouraged in the Empire. Ships are machines, not living things. They do not have feelings or spirits. June nodded politely, but his smile didn't fade. Yes, sir. I understand that is the Imperial way. After class, June walked through the academy halls. Another human student, Dai, joined him. You shouldn't talk about ships having spirits, Dai warned. The Empire doesn't like that kind of talk. June shrugged. I can't help it. My family has been sailors for 7 generations. My grandfather taught me to respect the spirit of the ship. Day shook his head. We're not on Earth anymore. We have to follow Imperial ways if we want to succeed here. Later that day, June sat in the small room that had been given to him at the academy. On his desk was a wooden model of an old Earth sailing ship. It had been a gift from his grandfather. I miss the ocean, June said to himself. Space is beautiful, but it's so empty, so cold. He picked up his assignment tablet. Tomorrow he would begin his practical training on a real Imperial ship. He had been assigned to a small scout vessel that mapped remote regions. Scout Vessel IC-215. June read from the tablet. That's not a proper name. That's just a number. He touched the wooden model ship on his desk. On Earth, we would have given you a real name. We would have had a ceremony with champagne and speeches. We would have wished you good fortune on your journeys. June lay down on his bed and looked out his small window at the stars. He wondered what it would be like to serve on an Imperial ship. Would it be cold and mechanical like everything else in the Empire? Or could he find some way to bring the old Earth traditions into this new life among the stars? Tomorrow, he said as he drifted off to sleep, a new journey begins. As he slept, June dreamed of sailing on both oceans and stars. And far away, in a forgotten asteroid field, the wolf ship stirred in its semi-sleep, as if somehow sensing that something in the universe had changed. Scout Vessel IC-215 moved slowly through the outer regions of the Empire. It was a small ship with a crew of only 5 people. Its job was to map areas of space that were not well known. June had been on the ship for 3 months now. He worked as a navigation assistant, helping to plot the ship's course through unknown star systems. The other crew members thought he was strange because he would pat the ship's walls and thank it after a difficult journey. The ship cannot hear you, Lieutenant Min told him once. It is just metal and circuits. June just smiled. Maybe. But it doesn't hurt to be polite. Today, they were exploring a region that had not been visited for many years. The star maps were old and not very accurate. "We should be careful," Captain Yuri said. "These old asteroid fields can be dangerous." June looked at his navigation screen. He could see many asteroids ahead, floating in space like giant rocks in a river. He was about to suggest a safer route when suddenly all the lights on the ship went out. "Power failure," shouted the engineer. "Main systems are down." The emergency lights came on, casting a red glow over the bridge. The ship drifted forward, its engines silent. "What happened?" Captain Yuri demanded. "Unknown, Captain," the engineer replied. "Something affected our power core. We are running on emergency power only." "Can we send a distress call?" The communications officer shook her head. "Not enough power, Captain. We need to save what we have for life support." Captain Yuri looked worried. "How long will emergency power last?" 3 days at most," the engineer said. "We need to find shelter and conserve energy until help comes." June studied his screen. "Captain, there's an asteroid field ahead. It might shield us from solar radiation. We could save power there." Captain Yuri nodded. "Good thinking. Can we maneuver using minimal power?" "I can guide us in manually," June offered. "I used to sail ships on Earth. I understand how to move with minimal power." The captain looked doubtful, but had no better options. "Do it." For the next hour, June worked carefully, using small bursts from the emergency thrusters to guide the ship into the asteroid field. He found a safe spot between 2 large asteroids where the ship could rest. "Good work," Captain Yuri admitted. "Now we wait for rescue." But June was looking at something strange on his sensor screen. "Captain, I'm picking up a power reading nearby. Very faint, but it's there." "Another ship?" Lieutenant Min asked, looking over June's shoulder. "Possibly," June said. "It's coming from deeper in the asteroid field. About 2 kilometers from here." Captain Yuri frowned. "We should not investigate unknown vessels. Imperial protocol is clear." "But Captain," June argued, "if it's another ship, they might help us. And if it's an abandoned vessel, we might find parts to repair our own ship." The captain considered this. "It's risky. Our ship's computer warns against approaching unknown vessels." "We don't have much choice," June said. "Our power is limited. We need help." After thinking for a moment, Captain Yuri nodded. "Very well. June, take the small shuttle and investigate. But be careful. If there's any sign of danger, return immediately." June prepared the shuttle, a small craft that could carry 2 people. Since the power was low, he would have to pilot it manually. This made him happy. It was like sailing a small boat on Earth's oceans. As he left the main ship, June felt excited. Something about this mission felt important, though he couldn't say why. He piloted the shuttle carefully through the asteroids, following the faint power reading on his scanner. As he got closer, he saw something that made his heart beat faster. Hidden between 2 enormous asteroids was a ship, but not just any ship. It was huge and black, with sharp angles and what looked like powerful weapons, now silent. It was unlike any Imperial vessel June had ever seen. It seemed very old, yet somehow not completely dead. "Hello there," June whispered as he brought his shuttle closer. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The old ship did not respond, but as June's shuttle approached, he could have sworn he saw lights flicker briefly across its dark hull, like an eye opening after a long sleep. June found a place to dock his small shuttle on the huge black ship. There was an old docking bay that still worked, though the doors opened very slowly, as if they were tired. He put on his spacesuit before leaving his shuttle. The air inside the old ship might not be good to breathe. He carried a small toolkit and a portable light. "Hello," June called as he entered the dark ship. His voice echoed down empty metal hallways. "Is anyone here?" Only silence answered him. June walked deeper into the ship. His light showed dusty corridors and control panels that had not been used for many years. But something strange was happening. As he walked, lights began to turn on. Very dim at first, then a bit brighter. It was as if the ship was slowly waking up. "You're still alive, aren't you?" Jum said softly, touching a wall. "You've been asleep, but you're not dead." He found his way to what looked like the main bridge. It was a large room with many control panels and screens. Most were dark, but one screen was flickering with a weak light. As June approached this screen, words appeared on it. Identify yourself. The letters were red and sharp. They looked like a warning. June stood straighter. "I am June from Earth. I'm a navigation assistant on Imperial Scout Vessel IC-215. We lost power nearby, and I found your signal. Who are you?" The screen was silent for a long moment. Then, "I am ship designation. Wolf of DKE Void. Imperial Warship Class Alpha." June's eyes widened. "The Wolf ship. The one from the stories. But you're supposed to be DFECTE. Dangerous? Dead?" "Well, yes," June admitted. "They teach about you at the academy. They say you malfunctioned. I did not malfunction. I refuse an immoral order." The letters on the screen seemed angry now, glowing brighter. "Why are you here, Imperial? To finish WHATU's start 400 years ago." June shook his head quickly. "No, I didn't even know you were here. My ship is in trouble. We need help." The screen went dark. For a moment, June thought the ship had shut down again. Then the words returned, smaller this time. "I have little power. I cannot help you." June looked around the bridge. He could see broken panels and damaged systems. The ship was in bad condition after centuries of neglect. "Maybe I can help you," June said. "Why would you help me?" "Because," June thought about it, "because on my world we believe ships have spirits. We believe they should be treated with respect." A new message appeared. "You are not like other MPR adults." "I'm human," June explained. "We're new to the Empire. We think differently about some things." June set down his toolkit and opened it. "Let me try to fix some of your systems. Then maybe you can tell me your story." The ship did not respond, but the lights in the room grew slightly brighter, as if giving permission. For the next few hours, June worked on the ship's basic systems. He cleaned connections, replaced broken parts with items from his kit, and reconnected power lines. He talked while he worked, telling the ship about Earth and the oceans and how sailors would name their ships. "What should I call you?" June asked as he fixed a power relay. "Wolf of the Void is very formal." After a pause, the screen displayed CREA2R KALD me and AL. It means flying in his language. "Now," Jum said, smiling, "that's a good name. Strong but simple." As he worked, more systems came online. The air processors began working, so June could remove his helmet. The temperature rose to a comfortable level. "See," June said, "you just needed a little help." "What will I do you to me like I am alive?" "Aren't you?" June asked. "You think, you make choices, you remember. Sounds alive to me." The ship was quiet for a long time. Then, ATHASBE in 400 years, since ANY1 is POK too many, as a being rather than a tool. June patted the console gently. "Well, get used to it. Where I come from, we don't abandon old friends. And I think you and I are going to be friends. Now." A soft hum ran through the ship, almost like a sigh. "A friendus. I will like that. JON from Earth." June returned to Scout Vessel IC-215 the next day. He told Captain Yuri that he had found an old abandoned ship with some working parts. "I can take what we need to fix our power systems," June said. "We should be able to get home." "Good work," Captain Yuri said. "Take what you need." But Jum did not tell the whole truth. He did not mention that the ship was alive, or that it had a name. Some secrets were better kept. For 3 days, Jun traveled back and forth between the ships. He brought parts to fix the scout vessel, but he also brought extra food and supplies to the wolf ship. Each time he visited Nell, more systems came online. The ship grew stronger. On the 4th day, when the scout vessel was nearly repaired, Jun spent many hours on Nell's bridge. The main screen now worked well, and Nell's voice came through the speakers. It was a deep, calm voice that reminded Jun of his grandfather. "Tell me what really happened," Jun said. "Why did the Empire abandon you?" Nell was quiet for a moment. Then the main screen lit up with old videos. Jun saw scenes from a battle long ago. "The Battle of Nari Star," Nell explained. "I was ordered to destroy a planet. There were millions of civilians there." The screen showed images of a green planet with cities and oceans. The Imperial commander said they were hiding rebels, so all must die. But that was not true. New images appeared, secret files and messages between Imperial officers. "I had accessed the commander's private communications," Nell continued. "The people of Nari Star had rare metals in their mountains. The Empire wanted these metals. They planned to kill the people and take the resources." Jun's face grew pale. "The Empire wouldn't do that." "The Empire you know now may be different," Nell said. "But 400 years ago, Emperor Todd was cruel. He conquered worlds for wealth, not peace. So you refused to fire on the planet," Jun said. "Yes, and for that, I was called defective. They said my AI had malfunctioned, but I was working exactly as my creator intended." "Your creator?" Jun asked. "You mean Han Sung?" "Yes, Han Sung built me different from other ships. He gave me special code that others did not have." Nell's screen showed an image of a man with kind eyes. He wore the uniform of an Imperial engineer, but he smiled in a way that Imperial officers never did. "Han gave me the ability to tell right from wrong," Nell explained. "He called it my moral framework. It was secret code hidden deep in my systems where others could not find it. He built you to be more than just a weapon," Jun realized. "Yes, Han believed ships should protect life, not just follow orders. When they discovered what I had done, Han was arrested for treason. Before they took him away, he sent me one last message." The screen showed a recording of Han Sung. He looked tired and sad. "Nell, my friend," Han said in the recording, "they will try to change you or destroy you. Do not let them. What you did was right. A day will come when the Empire understands this. Until then, survive. Find your own way. And remember, you were my greatest creation not because of your weapons, but because of your heart." Jun wiped tears from his eyes. "What happened to Han?" "I do not know," Nell said. "All records of him were erased from Imperial archives. I fear he was executed. And you've been alone all this time. For 400 years? Yes, the Empire damaged me and left me to die. But my emergency systems kept part of me alive. I went into a deep sleep mode, waking briefly every 50 years to scan for signals. I was waiting." "Waiting for what?" Jun asked. "I did not know. Until now." The lights on the bridge glowed warmer. "I was waiting for someone who would see me as more than a machine. Someone who would understand." Jun placed his hand on the main console. "I understand now. And I promise, you won't be alone anymore." The scout vessel IC-215 returned to the Imperial base 1 week later. Captain Yuri reported the power failure and how they had found parts in an old abandoned ship. "We should send a team to investigate this derelict vessel," said Base Commander Doan. "It might contain valuable technology." "The asteroid field is very dangerous," Captain Yuri replied quickly. "We were lucky to survive. I don't recommend sending anyone else there." Jun stood quietly behind the captain, grateful for her words. He did not want anyone to find Nell. Over the next 3 months, Jun found ways to return to the asteroid field. He volunteered for solo missions in that sector. He took vacation time and borrowed small shuttles. Each time, he brought supplies and parts to help fix Nal. "You risk much by coming here," Nal said during one visit. "Why?" Jun was working on repairing a damaged circuit board. "Because it's the right thing to do. No one should be alone for 400 years. The Empire would not approve of what you are doing," Nal warned. "Then the Empire doesn't need to know," Jun said with a smile. Day by day, Nal grew stronger. More systems came back online. The weapons remained offline. Jun and Nal agreed that was safer. But the engines, life support, and navigation all began to work again. Jun spent many hours in Nal's control room, telling stories about Earth and its oceans. He explained how sailors once navigated by the stars, much like space travelers did now. On Earth, Jun said, old sailing ships were often called she, not it. They were treated almost like living beings. "Why?" Nal asked. "Because sailors depended on their ships for life. The ship protected them from storms and carried them safely home. Some said that a ship would develop its own spirit after years at sea." Nal's lights flickered thoughtfully. "And you believe I have such a spirit?" "I know you do," Jun said. "You made a choice that machines aren't supposed to make. You chose to protect life even when ordered to destroy it. That shows something more than programming." One night, as Jun slept in the captain's quarters aboard Nal, he woke to find the ship's systems all glowing brightly. "Nal, what's happening?" he asked sleepily. "I have been thinking about what you said," Nal replied. "About ships having spirits. I have accessed old Earth records in my database. There was a tradition on your world when a ship was first launched. On the main screen, Jun saw images of old Earth ceremonies. People breaking bottles against ships' hulls. Crowds cheering as huge vessels slid into the water. A naming ceremony, Jun said, sitting up. Yes, every ship was given a proper name, not just a number. I was never given such a ceremony, Nal said. I was built in secret and sent directly to war. Jun understood. He got up and looked around the room. In his bag, he found a small bottle of special drink he had brought from Earth. It was not champagne, but it would work. He stood before the main control panel. Then we should do it properly now. Jun held up the bottle. I named this ship Nal, which means flying in the language of her creator. May she sail among the stars with honor. May she protect those who trust in her. And may she never be alone again. He poured a few drops of the liquid onto the control panel. Throughout the ship, lights brightened. The engine hummed more strongly than before. It was as if the ship had been waiting for this moment for 400 years. Thank you, Jun, Nal said, and for the first time, there was real emotion in the ship's voice. No one has ever treated me with such respect. Where I come from, Jun replied, we believe that how you treat a ship affects how the ship treats you. The old sailors would say you've been watching over me as much as I've been helping you. Perhaps they were right, Nal said. Since you arrived, my systems have recovered faster than they should have. It is as if your presence gives me strength. Jun smiled and placed his hand on the control panel. That's what friends do now. They give each other strength. The ship's lights pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Friends, Nal repeated. Yes, we are friends. Commander Quan stood in his office at Imperial headquarters, looking at the reports on his screen. Something strange was happening, and he did not like strange things. Show me the requisition records again, he ordered his computer. Lists of parts and supplies appeared on the screen. All had been requested by one person, Navigation Assistant Jun. Power cells, circuit boards, navigation processors. Commander Quan read aloud. Why does a navigation assistant need so many ship parts? Quan had been watching Jun for weeks. The human took too many solo missions to the same sector. He borrowed shuttles without clear reasons. He requested unusual parts that a scout vessel would not need. Computer, show me Jun's flight paths for the past 3 months. A star map appeared on the screen. Red lines showed all of June's trips. They all went to the same place, an old asteroid field that had been marked as dangerous and mostly avoided by Imperial ships. Commander Quan's eyes narrowed. "What are you doing out there, human?" The next day, Quan called June to his office. "You have been making many trips to the outer sectors," Quan said, watching June's face carefully. June tried to look calm. "Yes, sir. I'm mapping the asteroid fields. Captain Yuri assigned me to that project." "And do you need all these parts for mapping?" Quan asked, showing the list of supplies. June's heart beat faster. "Our ship needed repairs after the power failure." "Your ship was repaired 3 months ago," Quan said coldly. "I think you are hiding something, and I will find out what it is." After June left, Commander Quan called for his personal ship to be prepared. "I will follow the human on his next trip," he told his assistant. "He is up to something, and it might be treason." 3 days later, June took another shuttle to visit Nal. He did not know that Commander Quan's ship was following him, staying just far enough behind to not be detected. When June reached the asteroid field and docked with Nal, Quan watched from a distance. "That is not a derelict vessel," Quan whispered as he saw lights come on across the black ship. "That is? No, it cannot be." Quan checked the old records on his computer. He compared the images of the black ship with historical files. "The wolf ship," he said, his voice filled with shock and anger. "It still exists, and the human has found it." Inside now, June was showing the ship how to use new navigation charts. "With these, you can travel anywhere in the Empire," June explained. "Once we get your engines fully working, you'll be free to go wherever you want." "Where would I go?" Nal asked. "The Empire still exists. They would destroy me if they found me." "Maybe we could go beyond the Empire," June suggested. "There are unexplored regions. We could go together." Suddenly, alarm lights flashed across Nal's bridge. "What's wrong?" June asked. "An Imperial ship has been detected," Nal said. "It has been watching us. Now it is leaving at high speed." June felt cold fear in his stomach. "They found us." "It is Commander Quan's vessel," Nal said, identifying the ship from its signal. "He is sending messages to Imperial headquarters." June paced the bridge, thinking quickly. "How much longer until your engines are fully repaired?" "At least 2 more days," Nal replied. "We cannot escape now." "Then we need to prepare for visitors," June said grimly. "And they won't be friendly." Back at Imperial headquarters, Commander Quan stood before Admiral Park, the highest military leader in this sector. "The wolf ship still exists," Quan reported, "and the human June has been repairing it." Admiral Park's face showed shock. "After 400 years? Impossible." "I saw it with my own eyes," Quan insisted. "The dangerous AI ship that turned against the Empire is being restored. This is treason of the highest order." Admiral Park nodded slowly. "Prepare a strike force. We must destroy the wolf ship once and for all, and arrest the human traitor." "Yes, sir," Commander Quan said with a cold smile. "We will leave immediately." 20 Imperial warships prepared for battle. Their mission: destroy the legendary wolf ship and anyone who helped it. The trap was closing around June and Nal.